Hey guys, GP1000 here. A while ago my friend Calicor made a video talking about his top 10 favorite Nintendo games of all time, which I'll both link in the description and in the end screen at the end of this video. It's a very well made video and it definitely deserves more views than it has. After watching it I told him that I liked it and he challenged me to make my own, so here we are. This is not intended to copy him in any way, but more just to put my own take on it. Also, this type of video is something I haven't really ever done before, as it's scripted and has a lot more effort put into it than most of my content. If you like this video and want to see more like it in the future, please let me know by leaving a like and subscribing, as well as leaving a comment down below. That helps me know that you like what you see, and it really helps out the channel. Another thing to remember before going on with the list is that this is only my opinion. You absolutely have the right to your own opinion, but that also means I have the right to mine. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into number 10. I think something that you'll find while watching this video is that a lot of my list is very strange, because the whole beginning half of this list is driven primarily by nostalgia. Numbers 5 through 1 are more like what you would expect to see while watching a video like this, while numbers 10 through 6 are a lot more seemingly random. This is the case for Super Mario 3D World. The game is one that I think a lot of people are mostly impartial about. I know the majority of people that have played this game think that it's a pretty solid game, but I'm willing to bet that most wouldn't put it in their top 10 favorite Nintendo games of all time. I'm one of the ones that do. On surface level, it just seems like a simple 3D Mario game that follows the classic formula. Of course, that's because it is. But what makes this game so great to me is the level design and, of course, the music. Nintendo has always been very talented at designing Mario levels, and this game is no exception. While some levels fall flat to me, I'm looking at you, Plessy, the vast majority of them are very fun. And like all Mario games, the soundtrack is incredible. Whether you're on a train with bullet bills flying at you or exploring Bowser's Party World, you can be sure to have an awesome song playing right alongside you. Funnily enough, this game was also on Calicor's list, and I think that that's just because this game is amazing. Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64 was already an incredible game. Seeing Mario be able to run around an open 3D sandbox environment for the very first time was an awesome thing, and the gameplay was just impeccable. Each level had its own unique design, and it put iconic places such as Bob-omb Battlefield and Dire Dire Docks in our hearts forever. And of course, putting it on the DS made it even better. While the controls did leave something to be desired, as putting a 3D game on a D-pad can definitely lead to problems, the addition of 30 extra stars and improved graphics more than made up for it in my eyes, especially when playing on something like a 3DS or 2DS. I have so many memories of playing this game as a kid, and slowly grinding out stars one by one. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this game was the fact that it had mini-games built in. There's nothing quite like killing the Womp King at the top of Womp Fortress, only to immediately after play cards with Luigi. My only regret is that I was never able to defeat the final battle against Bowser. I should probably do that at some point. When putting this list together, I knew that I wanted to put a Pokemon game on here. I've played a fair amount of them, and while I've never actually put in the time to fully complete one, the one I've spent the most time on is definitely Pokemon Black. I can't really explain why this one is put on a pedestal above the rest, but something about it just made me want to invest so much more time than on newer ones such as Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Sword. Maybe it's the fact that I really like the Generation 5 Pokemon, or maybe it was the depth of the story, but there's something about this game that just speaks to me. One thing that I found really cool about this game was the fact that NPCs could show up at different times of day, or like different TV shows would be playing at different times. Whenever games do something like that, it feels like it adds a touch of realism, and it makes the game feel a lot more grounded in reality, which helps me to get more attached to it. I also really like the legendary Pokemon Reshiram, which was why I chose Pokemon Black, and although I never got him, he was always the trophy that pushed me forward. Overall, it's probably not a popular pick, but it's my number 8. When you see this pick, I know what you must be thinking. The new Super Mario Bros. Series is very well known for its lack of originality from game to game, with all 4 of the major games in the series being very similar to one another. But that is where, as I was saying earlier, the nostalgia kicks in. The version of this game that was packaged with New Super Luigi U was the very first game I ever had on the Wii U, and I remember spending countless hours playing through the game. Even now, the memories of playing this game have a very special place in my heart. I also remember the challenge mode that they had built into the game. They had different challenges set up, such as not being able to touch the ground as you scale one of the towers, or not being able to collect any coins while running through the caves, or simply trying to get through the level as quickly as possible. They even had an official New Super Mario Bros. U YouTube channel, performing stunts that kept me in awe when I was younger. Overall, not much about the game was very special, as power-ups such as the Acorn Suit or the Baby Yoshis were very one-time and gimmicky, but as you all know, nostalgia can be an extremely powerful thing. This really is the weird part of my list, isn't it? If you aren't aware, as it's a little bit more obscure than the rest of these picks, though not by much, Tomodachi Life is a life simulation game on the 3DS. You take care of the needs of your citizens by feeding them, giving them new clothes, or other seemingly mundane tasks. I don't know why, but this game hit me in just the right spot. A lot of it is of course down to nostalgia once again, but I think part of it is just the fact that simulation games are a lot of fun for me. I've never been into games like Animal Crossing, but other simulation games such as Stardew Valley or The Sims are a lot more fun to me. This game just fits perfectly into the type of simulation game that I enjoy. Another thing that made this game feel so special to me as I was playing it is the fact that there's so much about this game that's just so fleshed out. There are over 100 different meals that you can feed your Miis, even more styles of clothing, and all sorts of wallpapers to give your Mii's room a special touch. There was also Street Pass compatibility so that you could meet the citizens of other islands. Everyone knew it was coming, because if it was reversed and you were the ones making this list, it would probably be on all of yours as well. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a phenomenal game. Admittedly, I did burn myself out quite a bit with this game after a while. Why is that, you may ask? Because I enjoyed playing it so much. For more than a month after the game came out, there was one game on my mind. Super Smash Bros. If I was playing a video game, you can be assured that it was this one. In Calcor's video, he actually made an awesome point. One of the best parts about this game was the hype before the game came out. The reveal that every single character in Smash history would be a part of this incredible game was an amazing reveal. And that E3 showcase will go down as one of the greatest gaming events of all time, at least in my opinion. There's nothing quite like seeing Mario, Sonic, Cloud, Ryu, and Snake in a free-for-all battle to the death. I also really enjoy seeing the releases of DLC characters to the game to this day. It's awesome seeing familiar characters from all sorts of franchises come together, just for some good old fighting fun with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is the point in my list where it goes from games that I really enjoy to games that I absolutely adore. This may not be the most popular opinion in the world, there's some very good arguments for Mario Kart Wii, but this game is far and away my favorite Mario Kart game of all time. The graphics are absolutely gorgeous, the music is some of my favorite of all time, and the course designs are fantastic. One small problem I have with the game is the character selection, as there are way too many filler characters like Pick Gold Peach or every single Koopa Lane, but to me that's only a small problem. And of course, just as it was for Super Mario 64 DS, putting it on the Switch only made improvements. The battle mode was no longer a sad, shoehorned in excuse for a game mode, but a fully fleshed out mode with some incredible games, including an all new one. Other small additions, such as packing in the DLC with the main game, or making it so that you can hold 2 items at once, really just made the game feel even more like the core Mario Kart experience that they always intended it to be. And of course, you can't talk about Mario Kart 8 without mentioning its flagship mode, the famous 200cc. 200cc is just incredible. It takes the game from being fun to amazing. There's nothing quite like flying through all these colorful landscapes at top speed, and now that I've gotten hooked, there's no going back. This game is the best Mario game of all time, easily. An argument could absolutely be made for it being the best Nintendo game of all time, or even the best video game of all time. That just goes to show how close in quality these final 3 games are, and quality is definitely the word that comes to mind when thinking about Odyssey. There's so much to talk about, but I think the first thing I should mention is the first thing that I noticed in the game, the music. Mario soundtracks have never been very lacking, even from the very beginning, but I personally believe that this game is where they truly took it to a whole new level. There's actually no song in this game that I can say I truly dislike, and that's definitely an accomplishment, as I can very often be a little bit nitpicky. While the presence of incredible music is nice, I want to talk about where the game really shines, the gameplay. Earlier, I mentioned that one of the reasons the Super Mario 64 is so special is because of the fact that it was the first time he was ever able to run around in a sandbox environment. Super Mario Odyssey does that, but absolutely perfects it. Every single kingdom is incredibly designed, and the moons are designed in a way that looking for them just never gets old. This is the only Mario game that I've ever 100% completed, just because it's so much fun. This is the game that I really strongly debated putting in the number 1 spot, but ended up deciding against it. I love Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This is a game that I had for almost an entire year before playing it, and that's something that I absolutely regret. The experience that I had playing this game only rivals the experience I had playing the number 1 spot. My absolute favorite part of this game has to be the story. I don't want to spoil anything and don't have the time to talk about it in depth, but I just want to say that it had the most epic story of any game I have ever played. And of course, As is the trend with the higher spots on the list, the music is phenomenal. Whether it's a beautifully played orchestral arrangement or an epic electric guitar feature, it's sure to inspire emotion and improve your gameplay experience. Speaking of the gameplay, it's incredible. It has a system that in the beginning seems rather plain and boring, but as you progress throughout the game, the depths open up and you find yourself in an incredibly deep combat system that requires absolute mastery over to prevail in some of the toughest fights. I never ended up 100% completing this game even after playing around 100 hours, as I always find it difficult to stay motivated in longer games after the main story is complete. Regardless, that's why XENOBLADE Chronicles 2 is in my number 2 spot. Let's be honest, what else could I have chosen? It didn't show up anywhere else on my list, so of course that means that it's in number 1. I've never been the biggest fan of Zelda games, even though I own all of the mainline titles, just because they're not really the style of game that I usually play. However, I adore Breath of the Wild. Exploring the game and playing through it for the first time was truly unlike any other experience in my entire life. No other game has brought this intense sense of discovery to me like Breath of the Wild did, and I doubt that'll ever change. There's no easy way to explain how this game makes me feel, because unlike many other games where there are specific aspects that I can describe, the best part about this game to me was the emotions and feelings that it initially invoked, which is a very personal thing and is different from person to person. Of course, there are things that I can easily talk about. Once again, I love the music. Soundtrack is a bit controversial in this game because of the fact that it's a lot more ambient than most Zelda games, but I believe that strongly works in this game's favor, and adds to those feelings and emotions I was describing earlier. The story does leave a bit to be desired, as do some of the mechanics of the game, such as weapon durability, which I feel like shouldn't be removed, but only adjusted in future titles. But that does not at all affect how I feel about the game overall. The fact that you can truly go anywhere in this magical world of discovery means that even 200 hours later, I still have so much of the game left to explore.